Hey everyone, it's DKGM. Welcome back to another video. I'm going to take this video to announce that hopefully every week I'll be able to do some sort of variety video. It'll probably be something usually that I don't normally, I wouldn't normally do. Something that isn't, related to the game I'm currently playing or SF2. Sometimes it will be an SF2 video, but it'll be usually a much different type of video. As you can tell with this video, it's much different because it's a Street Fighter video, and I've never done a Street Fighter video before, so I've really gotten into the Street Fighter series, and I really like it, so I want to make a video on it. And recently, Capcom announced that they were making a 5th season to Street Fighter V after the reception of Street Fighter, or the Season 4 Pass and Champion Edition. So it seems like they originally weren't going to make it, but now they are, so they said they're going to add 5 new characters. So in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at 10 characters that I want to see in Street Fighter V. Keep in mind that these characters are not ordered, so the last character isn't someone I super want, it's just someone who I think will be in. Another thing I should mention is that the first 5 characters are characters that I want but probably won't be in, and the last 5 are characters that I think are going to be in, but I also still want them. Before we get to the 10 characters that I want to see, I have a few honorable mentions to characters that I personally don't want to see, but they still might have a chance of coming in. I would rather not see these characters because I have 10 other characters that I would like to see other than these characters, but they still might happen. The first one is Elena. She has a lot of spotlight. She was in every Street Fighter 3. She got in Street Fighter 4, she's in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. She has a lot going for her, so she's fine. We don't need her. I also really don't like fighting her that much either, so she's just a little bit, she has too much fame already. She can sit out on this one. Adon. Adon is kind of weird. He actually was in the original Street Fighter. It would be nice to have every character who's in Street Fighter 1 in Street Fighter 5, but personally, I don't see the point of having Adon in the game. He's just kind of weird, and personally, I don't really like him that much. He is just a pretty annoying character. He's like the bad guy in the movie that isn't working with the bad guys, and he's just doing his own thing and failing very hard. So, and what he's failing at right now is not going to be in Street Fighter 5. Yun and Yang, I guess I'm putting them together. I mean, they're the exact same character. They're not really, but I mean, they're brothers, I think, so, I mean, I don't want to see them personally. They, like, Elena, they have a lot of fame already. They got into Street Fighter 4, both of them, and Yun actually got into Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, so he got into a series that he really shouldn't have, but he did anyway. Yang is sort of in Yun's shadow because, Yun was added in an earlier version of Street Fighter 4, Yun was added in New Generation, and then Yang had to get in at Second Impact, so he's just the lesser used Yun, but they're both basically the same thing. I still don't want them. Oro. Basically with Oro, he's just definitely a character that a lot of people like and want him to come back, but personally I don't really want him to. He would be great for representation of Street Fighter 3, but I have a lot of other characters on my list that can represent Street Fighter 3 better, in my opinion. He also apparently was planned to be in Street Fighter 5, according to some codes or something, but he didn't make it in, so that sucks, but I'm personally not up for Oro to come back. Rufus. Of all the Street Fighter 4 newcomers, which there wasn't a lot of, I mean, Rufus is pretty memorable compared to, Hakan and El Fuerte. I'm not a big fan of Rufus anyway. He's pretty annoying, and his only gimmick is that he's a literal circle. But, I mean, like a lot of other characters, he's popular enough to get into Street Fighter Cross Tekken, so, I mean, he's got that going for him. But the only main series Street Fighter game he's in is 4, but, that sucks, but we really don't need him. We do have a lot of, no, that's not true. We don't have a lot of Street Fighter 4 representation, but I don't think it's necessary because a lot of it is just returning characters from other games because there's not a whole ton of newcomers. And speaking of Street Fighter 4 newcomers, DKGM, she is in Street Fighter 5 story mode, so it's kind of surprising that she isn't a playable fighter, but I don't know, it'd be kind of weird to have her, even though I don't want Yun and Yang because they're brothers, and Cammy and DKGM are sisters, or something like that. They're related somehow, but I don't know, I still wouldn't really want to cap her. She doesn't have a lot of emotion, honestly. She just, I don't know, she kind of exists. I mean, she seemed like a late addition considering she's like the first character you select in Ultra Street Fighter 4, but still. Alright, now we got done with the honorable mentions. It's time to look at the 5 characters that I want in the game, but probably won't happen. DJ. Personally, for the characters who were introduced in Street Fighter 2 New Challengers, we only have Cammy, and I guess Akuma if you want to count him. But I really like DJ as a character. I also like his personality. Like in Street Fighter 4, you can tell he has a really cool rhythm going with him. He really likes music and stuff. I like his moveset and the way he plays. He's a really fun character, but personally, there is another character from that game who was a newcomer in that game that's probably getting in. You probably know who it is, and let me spoil it for you. It's not T-Hawk, because who likes T-Hawk? I personally hate T-Hawk. He's not even on the list. He wasn't even an honorable mention. I hate T-Hawk. I can live without T-Hawk. But this is about DJ. DJ is still a very cool character, and he can definitely bring, I think he should bring a redesign with him, because he has the exact same design for 2 and 4. Yeah, I don't know, maybe he can be like Urian and get like all formal and stuff, but probably not. That's kind of not what DJ's about, but still, it'd be pretty cool to see him. Next up, we have Guy. Personally, I think Guy deserves to be in the game. We have a ton of Final Fight characters in the game, but we don't have the original Final Fight cameo, which was Guy. He was in Street Fighter Alpha, and I think there was another Final Fight character in that game, but I'm pretty sure he was the only one there. We didn't even have Cody. He came in Alpha 3, so I think Guy really has a good chance of making it in, considering we have basically every major Final Fight character that was ever in Street Fighter. There's another character that's coming up soon. You probably know who it is, but we'll get to it. Maybe he can come with a redesign like Cody. I really think that'd be smart, considering since what happens in the later Final Fight games with Cody, he becomes the mayor of Metro City, and then Guy can do whatever he does. I've never played a Final Fight game, but hopefully he does something important like Cody does, and he can come with a redesign, and, you know, he would be cool. They'd finally reunite together. I mean, they were both in 4, but still, he's a fun character to play as, and he'd be cool for the new season. Lento. He is also another Final Fight character that we do not have in the game. He was part of the villains, and even then, he was still a fun character to play in Alpha 2 and Alpha 3. He came back in Street Fighter 4, and I bet he's fun in that game. I don't own Street Fighter 4, but he also made it into Street Fighter Cross Tekken as Ibuki's partner for some reason. I really had a struggle with that one. Regardless, Lento is still a fun character, and I definitely think he does have a lot of representation, but he honestly doesn't have a lot in the main games. I guess Alpha is considered part of the main series, but if you don't count like the number series, he's only in 4, so maybe we could put him in 5. I personally think a lot of the Street Fighter 5 characters, or not Street Fighter 5, I'm sorry, the Final Fight characters, I don't really think they could all use redesigns. I mean, Final Fight kind of just works on its own, and then when their characters come back, they get redesigns. But we haven't had a Final Fight game in a while, but still. Lento would still be cool. Dudley. Dudley is a way better way to represent Street Fighter 3, in my opinion, compared to Oro. Along with Oro, he was in New Generation, and I did not put Elena on the list because, I don't know, I don't really think she'd fit in Street Fighter 5 that well. Street Fighter 5 takes a weird turn on how it normally is. I mean, it seems like, to me, in my opinion, Street Fighter is more of a comical type series, especially 4, because of all the cutscenes and how they were, because it was like anime cutscenes, I guess. And Elena really fits that build for Street Fighter, but Street Fighter 5 takes a more serious route, in my opinion. And even though Dudley's more of a comical relief character regardless, I think he'd still fit well. Maybe he could come with a redesign as well. I think all these characters would be fine with redesigns, because I feel like all these characters need them. They haven't been in a whole ton of Street Fighter games for the most part, but yeah, Dudley still could use a redesign. Elena would not be in the game, hopefully not, but I feel like Dudley would get a redesign if Elena came, and she would get a redesign too. But if it's only Dudley, he probably won't. But he'd still be cool. Hugo. This is the last character that we would need to represent Final Fight, and come on, Hugo. We need Hugo. Hugo's awesome. He would sort of complete all the big boys in Street Fighter. You know, you got Zangief and Sagat, Abigail, and then you just get Hugo too. I guess Alex too, maybe. I don't really think so, but Hugo is definitely a much needed character, and it's weird to have a Street Fighter game with Poison but without Hugo. Hugo was included in Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, and Poison was just also there as when the match started, but not anywhere else. She did show up in Street Fighter 4, and they had a big role together in that game. And then in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, they were included as partners. So it's really strange to have one without the other, unless it's Street Fighter 3, but that's because it was their first game. So I really think, since we have Poison in the game, and since she was added in the Season 4 pass, I definitely think we're going to get Hugo, but maybe not. We still do have a lot of other characters that have a better chance, in my opinion. And these last 5 characters are characters that I want and are probably going to happen. And keep in mind, these are not in order, so, you know, just take it however you want. Fei Long. It's kind of insane Fei Long isn't already in the game. I mean, clearly, the Street Fighter developers love Fei Long. I mean, they put him in vanilla Street Fighter 4 and decided to wait on DJ and T-Hawk. They later did add them in Ultra Street Fighter 4, but I mean, we did get Fei Long in the vanilla version, and I think Fei Long is probably one of the best design characters, because, hey, he is the Bruce Lee clone of the series. You can't have a fighting game if you don't have a Bruce Lee clone, and why isn't our Bruce Lee clone in one of the best-selling fighting Street Fighter games of all time? I think. I'm just gonna assume. But yeah, I think Fei Long is definitely deserved of a slot in the Season 5 pass. And like I said with all the other characters, he could definitely go for a redesign, but even if he doesn't, and he wants to, and they want to keep the Bruce Lee style with him, he'd still be a great fit for the game. Makoto. This is kind of a biased opinion because I really like playing Makoto, but I still think she possibly has a good chance. Makoto and Ibuki are really good as partners together, even though Makoto didn't make it in Street Fighter Cross Tekken for some reason. But Makoto is still a very well-designed character and has a great backstory. If you played in Street Fighter 3, all she wants is to like promote her training dojo that her grandpa uses, and so everyone can learn the type of fighting style she has. And if she would want that, she could teach it to all the new fighters in Street Fighter 5, because there's a ton of them, and Makoto would definitely really like that. So I think along with Ibuki, Makoto should really get a redesign, because Ibuki in 4 and 3 has a more traditional ninja style, and Makoto has a generic, like, I guess, fighter style, and hopefully she can get a redesign too, because I think she'd greatly benefit from it, and maybe she could be in. Rose. I feel like Rose is one of the best ways to represent Street Fighter Alpha. She was in all 3 of them, and then they later added her in Street Fighter 4. And Rose just has a really cool design, personally, and she has a really cool, like, I just said design, but she also has a cool moveset as well. And she kind of has a relationship with Ryu. I'm not saying, like, a relationship, but, like, a friendship with Ryu, and maybe Rose could definitely get a redesign as well. Rose is probably one of the best deserving characters of a redesign too. I feel like that design that she already has is honestly kind of weird in my opinion, and I think she would fit very well for a redesign, because you know, whatever. Of course, in a redesign she could keep her, like, scarf and whatever, because those are main attacks that she has, so she would kind of need that. But I still think, you know, give her minor design changes like how they did with Cammy, and she'd be fine. Crimson Viper. I mean, it seems like Capcom really likes Crimson Viper. She was one of the 4 original characters, one of the original new characters for Street Fighter 4, and they even put her in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Oh, and the only other Street Fighter characters that were in there are Ryu, Chun-Li, and Akuma. So they want to put like the best of the best in that game. Obviously, that's what Marvel vs. Capcom is about, and they put Crimson Viper in there. I don't know if that was supposed to be like promotion for Street Fighter 4, but I still think it seems like Capcom really likes her, and if they really like her, they should put her in Street Fighter 5. I mean, she has a really cool like design and what she does, and I think she could do it for a redesign, maybe slight redesign. I think she's fine for what she does right now, but maybe a little bit of redesigns, and she'd be very good for the game. You're telling me that we have a Street Fighter game that doesn't have Dan in the game? I mean, come on, it's Dan. We need Dan. I mean, you have you need the joke character in the game. You can't be all serious and have all these buff people. You gotta have Dan as well. It'll be nice because this will be one of the few games where we have all the Shoto clones in one game. You have Ryu, Ken, Sakura, Akuma, and Dan. I mean, if you want to count evil Ryus, then, you know, it's kind of just Ryu. But still, Dan definitely needs to be in the game. Even if he's trash, who cares? It's Dan. You gotta keep him in. And it seems like he'll probably get a redesign too, because all the Shoto clones got a redesign. I mean, even Ryu kind of got a slight redesign. And so did Sakura, Akuma, and Ken. So maybe Dan could come with one too. He probably will if he does make it. And I feel like this is the #1 character that will happen. This is like all order. This is all not ordered except for Dan, because like, come on, we need Dan. It just makes sense for him to be in the game. But then again, there's also like Kage, and he's, I guess, a Shoto clone now, so we'll have all 6 too. Or, you know, they could always just, you know, include new characters. But I really don't think that's gonna happen. I really just feel like they're just gonna do all returning characters. That's what most of the season passes are, regardless. All we got last season was Lucia, who was a Final Fight character, so they already had something to build off of, and Kage, who is just basically evil Ryu and Akuma. So we really haven't got a new character since like G and Fall, so which was season 3. But even then, there wasn't a whole ton of new characters outside of the base game, and they really just wanted to focus on returning characters. That's what it seemed like for all of them. And hopefully we can get it with the final season too, you know, include some last minute inclusions that definitely deserve to be in the game, and hopefully at least some of these characters can join. A few of the characters that I guess I didn't mention would probably not happen, you know, like Necro. Please, God, no. Or maybe Hakan. I hope not. I mean, if anything, I'm gonna see these characters and be like, oh cool. I'm not gonna be like super mad that they didn't include Makoto, but you know, it'll still be fine, you know. And that goes for everyone. Don't get mad at Capcom for including a character you didn't want. It's all in good fun. They're already in another game you can play. Sure, they're not on the most recent game, but still. And that goes for Smash Bros. Too. Come on. I'll make a Smash Bros. Video on this too for the last 5 characters in the Fighters Pass, because kind of strange to me that I made a video on fighters for Street Fighter before Smash Bros. But still, this was a fun video to make, and hopefully if you guys like this video, I'll make more Street Fighter videos. But fair warning, I'm pretty bad at the game, so but still, if you do, then like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in another video.